Okay, today we're going to review the April 18th Committee of the Whole meeting of Milton City Council, as well as the April 23rd Special Council meeting that was held. So let's dig in. First off, we have a representative from MediaCom who is going to discuss with the council about some Wi-Fi Milton City Council is looking to put down at the boardwalk.
We have had actions on the community center.
That's already done, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we're looking at the Riverwalk.
This motion is simply to evaluate a proposal to do it for the Riverwalk and Event Center,
It's
correct?
direct staff to continue to research the service being available at the Riverwalk.
We had some agenda items.
I feel like if there are concerns that they should go through the city manager and be investigated first before they're in a public forum, just because I think it gives these businesses negative publicity. And it's not fair to the businesses for us to do that to them until it's been fully investigated.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
That's what I'd like to add to the agenda. I'd like to address the letter that was written or read at the end of the last city council meeting.
And City Manager Jorgensen introduces the new City Planning Director, Jenny Cook.
Mayor, before we start with speakers, I've got one or two items if I could.
Yes, sir.
Present here with
I'm
council this afternoon is the new planning director for the city
Great.
of Milton.
Yes.
And I would like to ask her to come forward
Yeah.
to the podium. I think most of you are familiar
Yeah.
with Jenny Cook.
City Manager Jorgensen mentions a packet he'd like to share with the council.
I have one item at the end of the meeting that I'm going to distribute to council. I'd like council to consider the material that you're going to be provided, to give it some time, to think about what's found there, and to be prepared to comment on it at the executive committee or at another committee of the whole meeting.
You're giving it to us for bedtime reading? Is that what you're saying?
That's
you're
what
gonna
I'm
hand
saying.
it to us on the way out the door,
I'm going
so
to
we
hand it
won't
to
have
you.
a riot in the interest of time.
That's
I got that.
That's exactly
Roger
what
that.
I've got in mind.
Now, this is the part of the meeting where 30 minutes gets wasted, again, talking about a letter that got way more recognition than it should have. We had some council members that decided to leave, and the mayor was due elsewhere. I don't want to give that any more time than it already has taken from this city, so let's move forward. Mr. Johns arrives again to speak about the Byron Street resurfacing.
And I know that something could be done sooner or later, but I'm still in the later zone. Sooner, the better that we get this done. You won't have to hear from me. I could change my subject and other things that we could be talking about. But right now, I'm bouncing Byron Street.
And with the April 23rd special council meeting, we see that the CDBG grant application was filed for the city of Milton to help improve just those areas.
The proposed project is a neighborhood revitalization project for drainage, water line, street improvements on Magnolia, Dearborn, Applegate, Plymouth, Byram, and Peachtree Streets, and street improvements on West Walker Street. The grant will be for $700,000. There will be a $50,000 match from the city of Milton.
Next, there was a citizen that raised some concerns about public transparency with the city.
So I'm open to sending it to you all and my information from reviewing the meeting and going back and doing some research, but I'd rather that be corresponded with all of you all. That way I receive some response. But I'm open to that.
I would welcome that. I'll be glad to address that with you.
As well as the city's involvement with the D.R. Horton Group.
And I went on the Better Business Bureau as well. They're not accredited. They don't have reviews. So if we're talking about the largest business in the country or world or whatever the comments are that continue to be made, what does that have to do with respecting the citizens that pay for these homes that you all do business with them with?
We agree with that.
Thank you.
Next, we have the representatives from the Kaiser Cemetery and the Milton Cemetery.
What name are you using?
We are using Milton Kaiser, but that is another discussion for our board. because I refer to the same minutes you're probably looking at from
Yeah.
1888
Yeah.
when it was established. Definitely after really scrutinizing these bylaws and what have you in those minutes, we are going back to the benevolent
Yes.
colored Cemetery Association of Milton.
Brought the figures. The mayor had asked me to bring the figures. We have $25,000 in a CD, a short-term CD, so that we have access to it. We have $23,524 in our checking account. And yes, that does come from the sale of plots. It comes from donations that we solicit, and it also comes from the fundraising that we've done.
Then we have a break.
We have at least one item on the Shavers Street parcel that is before the council for its consideration. It's the first item on tonight's agenda. And if, before we address it, if we could take a short break, I'd appreciate it. We'll come back.
As we return from our break, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson does something that I think was probably a good idea, considering the weather that was on its way that afternoon.
Thank you for your patience tonight, and we have a severe storm approaching. So for the remainder of the meeting, we will just take care of the action item.
So, with a few action items left, we have 1273, the selling of the Shavers Street parcel, which passes. The 1281, the traffic light maintenance, which passes. And Riverfest, where City Manager Jorgensen discusses raising this year's limit in order to get a little more bang for the buck.
With Riverfest and the city's involvement to include the cost of the fireworks display, we've got $10,000 in our budget for that purpose. I'd like to increase that amount by $5,000. We'll essentially double the display that we provide to the public on the 4th of July, and we'll have a fireworks celebration much better than any we've had in the past. So for 50% more, it's my opinion, we'll get twice the bang, pardon the pun, on 4th of July for the buck.
And lastly, council and staff decide to go ahead and move all other agenda items to the next meeting.
We'll carry all of these items forward to executive, and you can determine their appropriate placement at that time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I do believe that Mr. Jorgensen said he had one item to distribute.
Now, City Manager Jorgensen gave the council a packet that reviews a divide that he perceives the council has in regards to Highway 90 and Main Street Milton.
There have been two items that have divided this community from my perspective for a considerable length of time. One is Highway 90, the other is conversations surrounding the relationship the city has and has not had with Main Street Milton. I want to resolve those matters so that we can move forward and concentrate our work on other areas of interest.
I hope it helps.